So let's start today the last lecture about closures. So generally, if you see, I am coding in the console. So whatever I am writing in the console. But the real world example will not be in the console. We have to write the code in Visual Studio Code, or we have to write in the Notepad, or we have to write in Dreamweaver, or we have to write in any editor. So generally, Notepad is very less preferred. Nobody generally write code here in the Notepad. Generally, people, when they are beginners, they try to code in the Notepad to understand the things. But after a few days, we have to move to Visual Studio Code or any editor which we like. So right now, I am just giving the basic understanding of the JavaScript, and that is the reason I am using the console. But soon, once my basic stuff is done, I will start coding in the Visual Studio Code. So JavaScript, there is no difference. There is no difference if I code in console or Visual Studio Code or Notepad. The JavaScript is same. The only thing is, right now for practice, we are doing in the console. But after we are done of some practice, we will be coding in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's do the yesterday's problem. And that question was also asked in one of my interviews. And that's what I want to do it here. So this is the practical example of the closure which they ask in the interviews. Okay, so I will only help you. I want you to write the code. Okay, so the problem is like this. So I will pass the two numbers like 1 and 2, and you have to see if these two numbers were already calculated, then return it or give result from cache. Cache, you can say, if you don't understand the cache, give result from a variable. Okay. Otherwise, if these two numbers are not calculated, then you have to calculate it and give the result back. So this is the idea, that if I pass two numbers, either if these two numbers are not calculated before, if they are already calculated, then I have to give from some variable or somewhere from the cache. And if these numbers are not calculated, then you have to calculate it and give the result back. So I will write a function, and I will denote that function with f. Okay. And then I will create this function. Now I want the answer here. You know, you have to tell me the lines. I will ask the question, and then you have to tell me the answer, what answer you are expecting it. Okay. So to keep, yesterday I showed you that we will create one object which will be like this, and this object will be in the format. So if I'm passing the two numbers, so this will be, let's say 1 and 2. So key will be 1, 2, and the value will be 3. So like this we have to save in this object. Okay. So if, for example, if I'm passing A and B, two numbers, how will I create this key? How will I create this key? I will say key is equal to A plus, I'll give underscore and plus B. So when I put A, one will come, and plus means they are attaching. We are attaching different variables. So one will come, and then underscore will come, and then plus B. B means two will come. So if I'm passing one as A and two as B, it will be one underscore two. So this will be the key. I'm just explaining you the basic, and you have to explain me in the function. So this will be the key. Okay, so then let me explain you some basics. Now if I want to see if this key exists in this object, so how can I check if this key exists in the object? So I can say if object of key, if this is present, then do something, then return the result. What is the result? Result is 3. Okay, I feel that this is little heavy for you, so I will do the problem and then you can ask me the question if you don't understand. So this is the function I created. Since this is the closure, what is the next step I will do here? Since this is the closure, what is the next step I will do? What is the template of closure? What we need to? We have to define a variable which we will be using in the function. So with our example, what is the thing which will be holding the values? It is the object. So I will put object as a variable here. I will create an empty object. Now what will be the next step? And define a variable and return a function. So I will return a function. So let me return a function. So I will return a function because closure needs that I should return a function. So this is the basic template of the closure. We have the function, then we have the variable, and we return the function. And we have to take use of this object or variable inside this function. If I'm not taking the use of this object in this function, that means it's not a closure. The closure will only work if I take the use of this object or this variable inside this function. So let's see if this function has two variables. I'm passing A and B. Okay, here I'm passing A and B. Since this is the local variable to this function, we will not consider this as a closure. Okay, so now we have to construct the key. So I just explained the key, how the key will be constructed. So here I have to construct the key. So what will be the key? A plus underscore plus B. So this is the key which I will be create, and I will be checking this key in this object. Okay, now what I will do, what is the criteria? If it is already calculated, so if it is calculated, that means this key will be present in this object. That means object will have one underscore two already in its memory, and the value will be 3. So if we have this key already in this object, then I will return this value. So how to do that? So I will say if object, and I will pass the key, this key. This key will be nothing but this one. This is nothing but 1 underscore 2 because I am passing 1 for A and 2 for B. So I am saying if this key exists, that means if object has this key. So how to write down if key exists? I will put the rectangle bracket and I pass the key, whatever key I have. I could have directly done A plus underscore I could have done directly this part instead of the key. but I am putting this part in the variable to make it little bit clear. So if this object has the key, what is the key? Key is nothing but 1_2. Then I will say console.log key already exists. I will say key already exists, and I have to return this value, that is 3. I have to return this value. So to get this value, I will just say object key. Okay, let me explain you a little bit basic of object, because those who are new, they may not know the object. What are the object? So for example, if I have object, and if I say object of 1_2 is equal to 3, I'm manually giving this key and I'm manually giving this value. So if I want to see what is the object, I will see 1_2 as a value of 3. Let's add one more one. If I say object of 3_5, that means I have to add 3 and 5, the answer will be 8. Okay, so object of 3_5 is 8. Let me see what is the object. So object, already I passed 1_2, it has value of 3, and another one is 3_5, it has the value of 8. So I have two elements in this object, 1_2 and 3_5. If I want to display this 3 value, if I want to display this 3 value, what I will do? I will say object of 1_2. I will just say object of 1_2. When I say object of 1_2, it will display this 3 value. If I want to display 8, what will I pass here? If I want to display 8, that is, if I want to fire this row, what will I put it here so that value of 8 will come? 3_5. So I have to say object of 3_5. Then I will get the value of 8. So whenever I create object, whenever I create object, if I want to run that object with the key, so I will say object and I will put the key. What is the key? Key is on the left side and right side is the value. So if I put object of key, I will get the value. So this is the basic of object. Similarly here we will do, if object of key exists, that means object of this or this is exist in the object, then I will return this one. If I return this one, 8 will be returned. If I return this one, 3 will be returned. So I will say if object of key, then return object of key, because I want the value. If that value already exists in my object with that key, then I will do the console and I will return the object. But if it doesn't exist, so I will put it in the else condition. If this object is key doesn't exist, so I have to create it. Create the object with key. So how to create it? Can anyone tell me? How will I create? This is the example. How will I create here? How will I create this object of key? Because if it doesn't exist, I have to create it. So that next time when I run this function, I should have this key. Object of A minus B. That is key. That is key, right? Object of key A_B is key. So what is the whole thing? You have to put this whole thing. I have to create the key like this. I have to create the element like this. Okay. So this problem looks like little bit going on top of your head. So I'll just put this solution, but don't try to overthink on this. We will come back this problem in few days when you will learn this object thoroughly. Then we will come back again to this problem. Okay, how has written correctly? Object of key will be a plus b. So I have to keep a plus b here. Since you see object of key is addition of these two numbers. So I have to say object of key is equal to a plus b. And then I will do console.log key does not exist. Okay, and I will return object of key. This is the object of key. So this is little difficult problem as per your understanding. Some people may know because they are little advanced students, but some may not know. So I will just give you the solution, and I will not explain it again now. I will explain it after a few days when you are little bit advanced. Now what I will do, I will create one variable sum, and I will call this function. And now when I call this function, this sum will have this function in the memory. So if I say sum, what is sum? Sum is the function. Sum is this function which we already see in the closure. And now if I can call sum with two value 1, 2, when I call sum to 1, 2, it says key does not exist and it gives me the result of 3. If I call the sum 1, 2 again, it will say key already exists and it is giving from this already exist, and it will give from the object which we have. If I will check this, if I check the sum, console.dir of sum, you will see we have the closure of object, and object has a value of 1 underscore 2 as a 3. So those who are new, no need to put brain on this one. This is very advanced problem, and I don't want you to think on this much. I have already that in the notes. You can refer it again in the future if you want. So this is the URL of this notes. Okay, so I have already that in the notes here. This is the notes for the function and closure. I will put it in the chat also. So this is the part we were doing. So you can refer this function anytime. It is given here. Here I have taken argument 0 and 1, but I can pass it here also in the function like we did here. Okay, I can. So we could have done here also. So just go through it, but I don't want you to put stress on this now, because this is little advanced problem. I don't want you to work on this now. Okay, let's do something different now. Let's forget this. So closure is almost done. This problem will come back and learn it again in few days when the time will come. Okay, right now we will move to different topic of the functions, and we will come back to this problem again in few days, because this is a little complicated and I don't expect everyone to understand this problem based on your level. Before moving to objects in JavaScript, let's do few functions which are important in JavaScript. One of the function is the parseint, which we already saw in the binary calculation. I'll be showing few more examples of the parseint. So generally parseint is used to convert string into numbers. So for example, if I have 1, 2, 3, see this is the number 1, 2, 3 number, a string. Why it is string? Because it is wrapped in the single quotation or double quotation. If we wrap something in single quotation and double quotation, it is a string. So I want it in the number format like this. So I will pass it in the parseint, and I will pass here as a 10. So since it's a decimal number, I have to pass 10 number as a second parameter. If I don't pass 10 as a second parameter, it is by default 10. So in some application, they give the error or warning, put this 10 number, and if you don't put this 10 number, then also it will work, because this by default it is going as 10. But because some application will give warning, it is better you put 10 number here in the parseint function. This is the function, inbuilt function of the JavaScript you can directly use. So if you have any string and you want to convert it into the number, then you use this parseint. Okay. Let's take few example. If I put parseint of ABC 1, 2, 3. So here you will see that initially I have the string and then I have the number. So since first one value is the string, it will consider as a not a number, and it will return a value. It is called a not a number, because it is not a number. We cannot convert this to the number because this is a string and cannot be converted to the number. Let's take one more example. If I pass parseint of 1 ABC 1, 2, 3. Now since first number is 1, rest all is a string, though 1, 2, 3 comes here, but second number starts with the string. So it will only consider first number as a numeric, and it will give that number here in the answer, and it will ignore all other numbers. So we will get 1. So whatever we have the value before the string, it will be considered as a number, and it will return as that number, and it will ignore all the other string value in the parseint. Parseint is a function which we use a lot in the JavaScript. So these are the few examples of the parseint. We have seen already few examples when we were doing the conversion of binary, decimal, hexadecimal, octagon. You can refer to that lecture also to understand the parseint. But right now, I just want to show few parseint examples here. So like parseint, we have another function in the JavaScript that is called passfloat. Okay. Passfloat will take the string or whatever you want, and it will give the decimal value. So if there is a decimal value, generally we use the passfloat for getting the decimal value. So if we have integer, we use parseint, but if we have decimal value, we use passfloat. So for example, if I use parseint of 1.23, it will give me only 1, the round figure of this 1.23. But if I use passfloat of 1.23, then it will give me exact 1.23 in the decimal format. So if we have something in the decimal format and it is in the string format, that is quotation, and we want to convert into the float, that is the real numeric value, I will use passfloat. I will not use parseint, because parseint will only give me the one number and it will ignore all other digits. But with the passfloat, I can pass a floating digit and I will get a floating number. Let's try to put more examples of passfloat. 1.23, and I will give ABC 0.0000 something like this. So it will take first digits where it is the numeric, and once it gets the string, it will ignore all the string after that. So I'm getting 1.23 because initially it is 1.23. If I start with the string, then then it will give the not a number, because it consider a as a string and not a number. It will give the answer of not a number. It will not calculate this 0.123 and give the result. Okay. Let's see few more examples. So you have to tell me the answer of the next one. What will be this? I will not put it here because if this gives the answer, let me put here. So I want the answer of this one. What will be the answer of this? 2.34. What will be the answer of this one? It is at 2.34. Right. Let me ask more. Passfloat. I will give 1 to a 3.34. What will be the answer for this? Yes, the answer will be 12, because once it got a string number, it will ignore all the characters after that and it will take only the 1, 2. Okay, let me do some more. Passfloat 1, 2, 3 e minus 2. I have explained what is the e. So e is a kind of number only. So I just want to answer. Those who attended that lecture, they should recollect what is this e minus 2 is. Still I have not got the right answer. Yes, I got right answer now. So if I convert, if I see this 1, 2, 3, so if I say 1, 2, 3 e minus 2, e minus 2 means we have to go 2 digit backward and I have to put dot here. That means e minus 2. Since this is already a floating number, so it will not truncate at 1, 2, 3, or it will not truncate at any point. It will give the answer of 1.23. Yes, 123 into 10 minus 2, that is correct, but ultimate answer is 1.23. If it is plus, if I have plus, what will be the answer? What will be the answer? So E means we have to go, if it is minus, that means we have to go 2 digit on the left side and put decimal here. And if it is plus, that means we have to go 2 digit after 1, 2, 3. I have to go 2 digit to the right and give the decimal there. So 1, 2, 3. Since it is plus, that means I have to go 2 digit on the right. I will give 0, 0 and I will put dot here. So answer will be 1, 2, 3, 0, 0. So let's double check this one. So I get 1.23, and if I put plus, so just again, if I have e minus 3, e minus 4, that means I have to put dot 4 times to the left, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is 4 digit to the left. And if I have plus, then I will put, after 1, 2, 3, I will put 4 digit and I will put dot here. That will be 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So E is converted into floating number like this. So since it is a floating already, so it will give the exact same result as we print like this. It will not convert to integer or something like that because it's already a floating point number. Okay, let me give you one more example. I will say parseint of 1e10. What will be the answer of this one? So Ali is saying, so if I put plus, or if I don't put plus directly, if I put E10, it means E plus 10. So if I say E10 is equal to E plus 10, both are same. So these two are exactly same. For minus, I have to specify the minus sign, but if I specify plus sign, or if I don't specify plus sign, then I will get equal result. So one person has only answered. I want the answer of this one. Sonu Singh is saying 1. Only 2 people have answered it. Where are others? So if I put this one, since it is parseint, after 1, if it finds a string, it will immediately return the 1. It will not even go further to calculate it. And if it is passfloat, then it makes sense. Whatever you have written is correct. Because passfloat converts this whole into the floating number and see what is the value. But with the int, once it finds the E, it will not check what is the other thing or what is the final calculation. It will just give me the first one answer, that is the 1. So this is little tricky. With parseint, we don't go further. Even though the number is integer kind of thing, there is no dot. But E means we are putting a dot somewhere, though it is not visible here, but we are putting it. But with int, it immediately see E as a string and it will not calculate further and it will give the answer of 1. Okay, so we covered parseint and parsefloat. Let's cover few more. There is a function called isnan. So sometimes you have to check whether the return is not a number or a number. So if it is not a number, then you can do something, and if it is a number, you do something. That is the purpose of isnan. So for example, if I check isnan, I pass the value of nan, it will become true because nan is not a number. So I am asking, is nan true? Yes, nan is not a number, so I am getting true. So if I say nan of 1, 2, 3, since this is the number, so I am getting false because nan means this should not be a number. This should be string, or this should be something value which is not a number. So for example, if I say nan of 1.23, though it is floating, then also it is not a number. It's a number. So nan will give false. That means this is not a nan. This is some number. If it is nan, then it will give true. Now tell me. Now I'll ask a few more on this nan. If I say is nan of parseint abc 1, 2, 3. So whether this will come true or false. So since whether this is a number or no. This is a number or no. This is not a number because if I put parseint, of ABC 1, 2, 3, since first character is a string, that means it is not a number. So if I pass this one, that means it is not a number. So it will give me true because the result is not a nan. Whenever I get result nan, it will become true because I'm checking. I'm asking, is not a number? This is not a number. That is true. It will say true. If I say is nan of a number, then it is a false because it is number, not a nan. Okay, if I pass nan, not a number, then it is true. So whenever the value whenever the value is not a number, it is true. And whenever the value is number, it is false. Since this is number, it is false. Since this is a number, it is false. So if we get number, that means it is a false. Okay, let's see this one. Let me put in the notepad so you cannot see the result, otherwise you will get the result immediately. Okay, let's take another example. If I pass 1.23, whether it's a true or false. Whether this is a number or no. Okay, don't tell me true or false. Tell me this is a number or no. Okay, though it is in the string format, but JavaScript is very loose. It will convert this into the number, so it will consider this is a number, though it is in the string, so it is a number. So if I put 1, 2, 3, it will give me the false. Because though it is in the string, but JavaScript will consider it as a number. It will convert it into the number because there is no string in it. So JavaScript will convert it into the number, and it is false. Therefore, if it is a number, then definitely isnan will become false. Okay, tell me one more. If I put a here, then true. So if I take this one and if I put a here, then it means it's not a number and it will become true. So if the value is number, then isnan will become false, and if this value is string, not a number, then it will become true. So we have to see whether the result is not a number or a number. If I sometimes check nan is equal to nan, then it always gives the false, though both have the same value of nan, but JavaScript does not consider it as the same and it gives the false. So if you want to compare like this, it will always give the result of false. Surprisingly, because if you consider 2 equal to 2, answer is true. Anything if you compare, if they are same, the answer will be true. But for specifically for nan, it is false. That means nan is not same as another nan. So it will give false result. Okay, few more simple things which we are doing now. A few days I will take very simple things before I jump to again some complicated thing. So is finite. So is finite will check whether the number is finite or not. So if I pass number infinity, it is false because it is not finite. If I pass is finite 1, 1 is finite. You can count 1, you can count 10, you can count number. So if it is 1, then it is finite. I can pass is finite if I give 1 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 like 300 times, then also it is finite. So to do that, I will say E308. That means I am putting 308 zeros. That is also finite number. So if I have something 1 and followed by 308 zeros, then also it is finite. This is nothing but, this value is nothing but, like this I will put 300 times 0. I am not counting, I am just telling you. 300 times 0, then also it will become finite. What will happen if I put is finite 1 E 309. If I put 309, it will become infinite. So in JavaScript, up till 3080 zeros, it is finite. After that, it will become infinite. So it will become false. If I say is finite of minus infinity, it will give false, because this minus infinity is also not a finite number. Okay, so this is something just about finite, to calculate if the number is finite or infinite. Now, a few more which are very important are encode URI. This is one. Another one is decode URI. This is second. And third one is encode URI component. This is third one. And another one is decode URI component. These are the built-in functions in the JavaScript, and we have to see what exactly each one means. So if I say encode URI, and if I put some URL inside, like http www.google.com, and then I will put page1.php, and I will put question mark, and I will say q equal to, I just put query like this and that, something like that. Okay, let me comment all others. So if I put encode URI, and if I put a URL, and in the URL I have some string like this with spaces, and I put character, so what will happen? You will see the answer is coming here as wherever it sees a space. Okay, it sees a space or extra character after this URL, after this domain. Whenever it sees something like that, maybe I can put page here, space here. So if it sees space, or there are few characters which they convert it into this format, you know, encode format. It encode it with the %20. So it convert this space into %20, and there are few more characters which it converts into something %20. For example, if I put rectangular bracket, so I put rectangular bracket and it converts it into, so this is the encode URI. Encode URI means it will not put this // it will not put this // or this / inside the encode URI, but it will take all other characters like this. These are the special characters which it converts into encoded format, and we will get the result. But what will happen if instead of encode URI, I use encode URI component? So let's try to use encode URI component with the same URL. And if I take encode URI, you will see even after HTTP, colon is also encoded. / is also encoded. This after this slash is also encoded, like %f2. Page 1 is okay, fine. Then there is a space which is also encoded. Then equal sign. This equal sign is also encoded. Then this space is also encoded. This space is also encoded. This ampersand sign is also encoded. This equal sign is also encoded. This rectangular bracket is also encoded. So with encode URI component, everything is encoded. Okay, but with this encode URI, you will not see everything is encoded. Only, you know, space, or you have this URL proper format will not be encoded, and few characters will be only encoded, which are generally part of query string. That those will be encoded like this %20. I put a space. But with encode URI component, this whole string will be encoded. It will even not leave slash slash. Everything will be encoded. Here you will see ampersand is here still ampersand. Equal sign is still equal sign. So only few characters are encoded, not all the characters. But with encode URI component, everything is encoded. Let's see decode URI. If I put decode URI, if I put this answer of this encode URI in the decode URI, then you will see it is back to this number, this string. Whatever we encoded, if I put encoded in this, it will decode it to whatever it was there in the beginning. Same with decode URI component. In the decode URI component, I will put this string which is encoded, and what will I get? I will get the original text which I use for the encode URI component. So this encode URI component, decode URI component is used a lot when you want to encode the URL in different format. In my practical application, I have not used encode URI for the practical purpose, but I can use if I want. But for all the practical purpose, I have used encode URI component and decode URI component. So this encode URI and decode URI has limited scope. We generally don't use it because generally we want to encode the whole URL. So this will not solve our purpose, but this will solve our purpose. So practical point of view, these two are important and these two are not important, because when I have the URL, I generally encode it completely. I don't want to encode it partially like this. So this is my practical advantage or practical usage. There are three more functions which are important, which we don't use practically, but they have some meaning in the JavaScript. One is called alert. If I push alert and high, you will see a pop-up is coming with the high value, whatever I pass it, and I see alert high. There is another one is prompt. Prompt will create a form and it will pass this hello world, whichever text I pass here, and it will ask the user to put something and it can get that value inside it. So I can put this prompt in the variable, and then when I type A, I will get that value. So when I write A prompt, whatever user will type, I can use it in the variable A. So this is something prompt. So these are the small utility tools in JavaScript which are not used. Some are used in day-to-day life, some are not used. So practically point of view, I try to avoid alert, I try to avoid prompt, but there is one thing which I generally use in my website. It's called confirm. So confirm will say OK or cancel. OK means true, cancel means false. So if I say OK and I check what is B value, true. And if I click cancel and if I check the B value, it is false. So generally when I have a delete button and I want to let user click the delete button and I want to see whether I have to ask the confirmation. So I will say var a equal to confirm, do you really want to delete this record? I ask this question, and if user say okay, then I call. So if A is there, that means user has placed okay, I will call the delete function, delete the record. And if it is not, then I will say do not delete the record. Something like that. I do it many times in my application. I ask the confirmation from the user, and if user say yes, delete it, I generally delete the record. And user say cancel, I do not delete the record. So this is a practical some use case of the three functions: alert, confirm, and prompt. Okay, so that's it all about the functions and the closure. So